God's afternoon, everyone. Give it a few minutes and see if anybody comes in. Hi, Cousin Sherry. Thank you for joining. How are you? How is your day going? Sarah Pooh. Hi, Ignite Hope. How are you? Thank you for joining the broadcast. I'm gonna wait a few minutes, see who else comes in. How are you, lovely? Awesome, awesome. I'm glad you're having a fabulous day. I'm struggling today. I'm tired. Waking up at 4:30 in the morning and not going to bed until late. I am struggling. But God is giving me strength. And I thank him for that because I need it. Thank you so much. Yeah, I do. I need lots of energy. Dealing with cancer a cancer patient is no joke. Yes, I am at work. No, it's not good. So I've been trying to get rest. When dealing with a cancer patient, it's like they're children. So if you have children, you know that you have to sleep when the baby is asleep. So that's how I'm sleeping. Whenever my mom goes to sleep, that's when I go to sleep. Yeah, it's rough. But I'm actually thankful that God is allowing me to serve in this capacity, because I've been asking that he would show me how to serve and be a better servant, and this is the way he's allowing me to serve, and I'm not complaining about it at all. I'm very appreciative that he's given me everything I need to handle it and to deal with it. But okay, so it looks like this is everyone that's going to come in. It really is, and I'm actually ministering to her so that she goes back to God. Yes, Sarah, there is no grace like the grace of God. He says his grace is sufficient for us. So my name is Retta Timmons. I am a motivational speaker. I don't want to say an empowerment coach, but that's what I want to do. I want to uplift and empower people so that they understand whatever type of abuse they went through. It's not their fault, and they can accomplish anything that they desire to accomplish. And I do some other things. God, like I'm a Jane of many trades. God blessed me with so many gifts, and I'm grateful for that. But today, you guys know that in the morning I do daily affirmations, which I think helps all of us to push through the day. But I promised that I would come back this afternoon and do a scope on manners. And what I want to discuss today is cell phone use. So cell phones, they are wonderful. Amen, 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 amen. Cell phones are a wonderful thing in dealing with technology. Yeah, a wonderful thing in technology. No, Sarah. maybe just a smidgen, Sarah. But just trust and know that when I'm talking to you guys, there are some things I do, but I do at a minimum because I teach it. So I live it, or try to do my absolute best at living it. But like I was saying, the technology that is here with us now, and cell phones are wonderful. In case we have an emergency, if there are any issues, if there are any problems, we have easy access to get a hold of our loved ones. Um, they're wonderful. I love them. Excuse me, but there is a place for them. And that's what I was getting ready to talk about. Um, there are so many different uses for them, but people don't know how to use them properly. So let's say, example number one, you go into the store to make a purchase. You're in line, you're on your cell phone, which means one, you're being disrespectful to everyone behind you, and then you're being disrespectful to the cashier because you're not giving her your undivided attention, and she needs that to carry through and complete your transaction. So, if you are in the store making a purchase, if the call is not an emergency, get off of your phone. Call that person back once you've completed your transaction and you've returned to your car. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, when you are speaking on your cell phone, speak softly. No one needs to hear your entire conversation. Remember in pre-K we were taught we have indoor voices and we have outdoor voices? Use your outdoor voice when using your cell phone. Absolutely. Keep your private business private. Your conversation is not for everyone to hear. No one wants to hear about the intimacy between you and your partner. No one wants to hear about the weed you smoked with your boys or your girls last night. No one wants to hear the issues that you're having at home. Keep your private business private. Speak softly. No one needs to hear your conversation. Also, if you are, I won't even say public transportation, but if you are in public, period, wear your earbuds when you're listening to music. And turn your music up enough so that only you hear it. The music is for you. Absolutely, Sarah. I concur with you there. I have issues with that. But wear your earbuds and have your music turned up to a volume so that only you can hear it. Everyone around you does not need to hear the garbage that you listen to that's called music these days. Even if it's gospel, even if it's an audio book you're listening to, whatever it may be, absolutely it has. And it's so disrespectful because everyone's losing respect for everyone else. But you listen to your music or whatever it is that you choose to listen to. It's for you to enjoy. Because when I take public transportation, I like to read. But then I don't even know any of the artists that are out other than the ones I listen to. It all sounds the same. It has no meaning to it. There are very few words. It has no importance. I don't want to hear it. I'd like to read my book in peace. But yes, make sure your volume is turned down so that only you can hear it. Another thing, be courteous to those around you, which goes on to that. And I'm going to get to that point in just a minute, but thank you for keeping me on point, because there's so many different things I can touch on with the cell phones. But be courteous to those around you. When you're in the library, when you're at your place of work, when you're at your place of worship, turn your cell phone volume to vibrate. Turn it to vibrate. And if you're somewhere else, turn it off. That's the first thing. Turn it off. But if you're going into a meeting, and you know that you're waiting for a very important call, then put it on vibrate so that you are made aware of when that call comes through. Another thing, if you're in a meeting, turn it off or turn it to vibrate. If you're expecting a very important phone call, when the call comes in, excuse yourself and step outside of the meeting or outside of the room, wherever you may be. Take your call. Once you have completed your call, then you can go back into your meeting or back into whatever you are dealing with. Be mindful, be respectful, people. This generation is so disrespectful, it's unbelievable. The generation in which I come from, I was taught to say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. No, thank you. You're welcome. Please. You hardly hear those things anymore. And it's not just from the youth. It's from the elderly as well. Excuse me. Pardon me. None of those things are used, or they're used very little, which is a shame. Another thing, watch your language. I hate curse words with a passion. I hate them. If you attended school, if you've ever read a dictionary, your vocabulary should be large enough where you don't have to use curse words. Use English. Use proper English. Curse words are so unnecessary. So unnecessary. Let's see. So I talked about not making phone calls in libraries, theaters, church, from restaurants. Cell phones in your restaurants, This is a habit that I have. When we go into restaurants to eat, if I'm out with friends, what we do, everyone places their cell phone in the middle of the table. So no one's on Snapchat, no one's on Facebook, no one's on Twitter, no one's on Instagram. We are able to engage in conversation because face-to-face conversation is becoming a lost art. It is a shame, people, when you are sitting right next to someone and you're texting one another. God gave you this to use. He blessed you with this. Use it. There are people that are unable to speak who wish they could use their mouth to speak. Use your mouth and speak. Don't sit right next to someone or across from someone and you're texting the entire time. Engage one another with conversation. Discuss how your day was. Discuss plans that you may have. Discuss things that are going on in your life. Absolutely. But the 2 ears are so that you listen more and not talk so much. But it's great to engage one another in conversation. What happened to those family dinners where you're sitting around the table and everyone's talking about how their day was, what they learned with the children being in school, what was taught in school, what they learned in school, with the parents, how their day was at work, some wonderful projects that they're working on. Now everyone's sitting at the dinner table. If they're sitting at the dinner table, and they're on their phones. Put the phones down. But back to what I was saying, when we go out to eat, we all place our cell phones in the middle of the table. And the first one to pick up their cell phone, they pay the entire bill. The entire bill. That's awesome. Ignite Hope, please tell me what your name is. Thank you. Yeah, they pay the entire bill unless someone begins to start ordering Dom Perignon and things of that nature. Peter, thank you so much for joining my scope, Peter. Welcome. And I hope you'll come back. But yes, thank you so much. My pastor's wife takes his phone away sometimes. Yes, it's a necessity. God gave us communication, and it's such a beautiful thing. Thank you, Peter, and I will follow you as well. Communication is such a beautiful thing, and I don't know if we take it for granted or what, and I'm following you right now, Peter. But it doesn't make any sense. So we have to get back to that wonderful place of communication. Never drive and use your phone unless you have a Bluetooth in your car, unless you have a headset where you can communicate. But pay attention to the road and do not text while you are driving. People, we are losing lives texting and driving. That is an absolute no. I've seen people scoping while driving, which is a concern as well. So be mindful, remain prayerful while doing it. Thank you, Sherry. You do the same, sweetie. Have a wonderful meeting. Thank you so much again for joining the broadcast. It's wonderful. Oh my goodness, it's wonderful. Peter, let me tell you, although I have a small frame, and I'm quick to tell people I am a fat girl stuck in a skinny body, I love to eat. Yes, Sarah, it does. It really does. It scares me because that's not an accident I want to see. And I can out-eat pretty much any grown man. So generally everyone waits because they think that I will be the one picking up the bill, but I don't. And what I do is, yes, I'm very petite. And generally what I do is I will order my meal. I will eat my meal and whatever else I decide to get. But I will also, if it's a really good restaurant and there's something that I wish to take home, I will order that after the bill has been paid, or I separate it from the bill. But I've had several of my friends, because they decide they have to take a picture of their food and then put it on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, immediately they have picked up the bill. So then now they have to pick up the extras that I ordered. So is it fun? It is. But it puts you in the mindset of just sitting. You're there with your friends. You're there with your family. Oh, Florida, beautiful place. I'm in Maryland. So yeah, we are really losing the art of communication. So we really need to get back to that. I'm trying to think of what else. It was something I missed and I needed to get back to it. I talked about the lost art. I talked about not scoping, but not texting or using your cell phone in church, at theater, in class. Whether you're bored or not, you're still in class. You need to hear what your professor is saying so that you can pass your class. I've discussed not talking while you're in line at the store making a purchase. I've discussed using your indoor voice, because we need to do that. Not everyone needs to hear your conversation. I think I may have covered most of what I wanted to discuss. I think I may have touched on it. Are there any questions you guys have that you would like to ask? I'd be more than glad to answer them for you. I think I may have touched on everything. Let's see here. How would you tell someone? In which situation, Peter? Because you can do it in multiple ways, and not so much as tell that they're too loud. You could excuse yourself into that conversation. Excuse me, I apologize, but I'm trying to read, or I can hear your conversation, and I'm sure that's something you want to keep private. Is it possible that you could just lower your voice a little? And I know that may sound hard because we're living in dangerous times and people have no respect for life. But just be as pleasant as possible about it. Sometimes you may get a snapback, sometimes you may not. Some of them will say, "Thank you for letting me know," because they didn't realize that they were talking that loud. And I've seen it, where you say something to someone and they're like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't know I was that loud." But some people are just loud because they need the attention. They want everyone to hear. They've lacked that attention. It was something that they didn't receive growing up. It hasn't been released, or they have not been delivered from it even in adulthood. We have parents that pick up their kids, and you shouldn't. You should not. Those babies are looking forward to seeing you. I no longer have a baby. Well, she will always be my baby, but she's 19. And I can remember going to pick her up. More than if I'm on a phone call, that phone call ends before I even get out of the car to go and get her, because I wanted to give her my undivided attention. I have not seen her all day. I want to know how her day was. I want to know what she did. I want to know what she learned. All of those things. But we are also in a time where parents seem to care less. And it's horrifying. It's horrifying. But there are so many situations, there are so many circumstances in which your cell phone should be on vibrate, or it should be off. And it should be put away. It should definitely be put away. It should not be an accessory on your table setting. It just should not be. Excuse me. Even with your kids. We tell our kids to do certain things, but they're watching us. So what you need to do, even at dinner time, when you're sitting down to dinner, leave your phone upstairs. Tell your kids to leave their phones upstairs, or or this is another thing. Get a basket. Get a cell phone basket. Decorate it, whatever you choose to do, so that when dinner time comes, or a family meeting comes, a holiday comes around, whatever it may be, that is a basket for all cell phones to go in and not be touched. If it's touched while you're within the household, whoever touches their cell phone first, they get a chore for however long you choose to have them do it. So let's say Aaron decides he wants to go and pick up his cell phone. He wants to see if someone put up a Snapchat, or they were on Instagram. Aaron has to do dishes for 2 weeks, a week. Wash dishes, exactly. And you know what will stop them from doing it? Give them a chore that they hate doing the most. And guess what? You won't have any more problems with them picking up that cell phone. You won't have any more problems with them picking up that cell phone. So things like that, and just make it fun. And help them to understand, yes, the cell phone was a great invention. It's a great way to communicate. But it's not for every thing. Even with, thank you. This is which, are you speaking of the sweater, Sarah? Because if you're speaking of the sweater, this is close to one of my favorite colors. I love turquoise. Yeah, I love turquoise. Turquoise and teal. They're some of my favorite colors. But although they're great inventions, they're also harmful. They take away the attention and the focus that we need to give to our loved ones, because we never know what we're going through. Another thing, thank you, that I was just reminded of. Awesome. That's awesome. We need to communicate more. If you are listening to music, or if you're having a telephone conversation and you're walking in the street, you need to have one earbud out, and you need to pay attention to traffic. Oh my God, I don't know how many times I've seen people with earbuds in. They're not paying attention to traffic, and they're about to get hit. God's afternoon, Pettis, too. Thank you for joining. They're about to get hit because they're so engrossed in that conversation, or they're so engrossed to listening to music that they have not realized they're about to get hit because they don't have the right of way to cross the street. So please make sure you only have one earbud in and you're paying attention to traffic when you are crossing the street. And I think that is possibly, I'm sure there's more, but that's what I can think of for right now. So guys, in using your cell phones, be safe. Thank you so much. What is your name, Pettis the Second? So I'm not calling you by your handle. I'd love to know your name. And again, I'm going to reset. My name is Retta Timmons. I am an etiquette teacher. I am a motivational speaker. I am a coach. Maurice, it's a pleasure to meet you. Peter, thank you so much, and you have a blessed day as well. I hope to see you again. I'm following you now, so hopefully I will catch your scopes live, and you have a blessed day as well. So I think that is about it. Awesome. I look forward to it, and thank you again for joining. That's about it. Unless you guys have any questions, feel free to ask any questions about cell phone etiquette, cell phone manners. And just remember to be wise when you're using your cell phones. No questions? All right, guys. Well, I thank you. I am going to bid you a God's afternoon. I pray that you have, what do you think is a good amount? Awesome. Thank you. And I will follow you as well, of time to be on it in a day. It all depends. It depends on your line of work. Such entrepreneurs, if you're in business for yourself, if you are work and your cell phone is attached to your job, it's possibly that you may be on it all day. But try to use it as less as possible. I love the fact, and let me say this, I would prefer that you pick up the phone, use your cell phone to communicate instead of texting. Texting is another distraction. That's what I call it. It's another distraction. It was never meant to take over cell phone, to take over conversations. There is nothing like hearing the voice of a person. I love the one-to-one interaction with a person. But texting is meant for just small things. If it's something very important, pick up the phone and talk to the person. And another thing, thank yous. When you want to thank someone, so do I, but I keep it to a minimum because I prefer to talk to the person. Conversations can become misconstrued when you're texting. You don't get the emotion, you don't get the tone, you don't get the importance or non-importance of the message through texting. Text can be misread. Texting causes arguments, whereas if you are talking to the person, you can hear everything. So that's why I don't like texting as much. But I do text, don't get me wrong. I do text. But just not as much. So that may be about it, but I would prefer that you spend your time talking to people on the phone than texting, so that the line of communication is open, and you have a better understanding of how a person may feel, at that particular time when you are conversing. So I think that's it. So guys, I'm going to bid you God's afternoon. And yeah, I think I've hit upon everything. On today. So Sarah, thank you, doll, for joining me again. I hope you have a tremendously blessed day. And I hope you got something from this scope. And I'm going to try and figure out what I'm going to scope about on tomorrow other than the daily affirmations. To my replay viewers, thank you for joining. And I hope you as well gain something from this scope. Have a tremendously blessed day, and I will see you guys in the AM with the daily I Am affirmations. Peace and blessings. It doesn't want to shut off.